Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and today we're going to be doing our week 1 check-in for December. So I do have my planner here. This is my budget planner. This is my Erin Condren 7x9 monthly planner in the color blends design. This was one of the designs from last year that I used for 2023. And I'm going to go ahead and flip to my December spread. I have all of my stickers here as well that I will be using to track all of our expenses, along with any bills, any days that we successfully did not spend any money. And then we do have our little savings challenge for the month as well. If you guys are new, we are cashless budgeters. We don't use cash for anything. We do just use our credit card primarily. There is the occasional times where we do have to use cash because they don't take credit cards or something along the lines, but for the most part, we just use our credit card for everything. For all of the spreads that I currently have, I have my monthly overview set up along with my savings tracker for our external long-term savings account. We have our dashboard set up as well, our variable income, our December monthly budget that we set up together. We're going to be doing our weekly check-in on this page. The weekly check-in is specifically to track all of our day-to-day expenses, or our electronic cash envelopes, I guess is another way to call them. But it is these categories here for eating out, groceries, gas, allowance, pups, and bean. This spread on this side for the weekly balance is more so to balance out our checking accounts. We have our transaction log, our sinking fund set up, and then we will be doing our debt payment on this side, but we'll talk about that more in that video. If you're curious about any of the spreads that I have here, I do have videos setting up all of these spreads with you guys for this month, previous months as well. But for today, let's go ahead and start tracking our expenses. Before I forget though, I did want to talk to you guys about our credit score. I forgot to write down our credit score last time to give you guys an update, but these are our current numbers. My husband's for Experian is 828. Equifax and TransUnion is 808 for both. For me, my Experian is 837. Equifax and TransUnion, both of them is 768. This one dropped for me by like 20 something points, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's tied to paying off one of the student loans or not, but I'm hoping after this month it jumps back up. But I didn't see any red flags otherwise. One of you guys had asked me what I use to track our credit scores. For Equifax and TransUnion, I use Credit Karma. Credit Karma is free to sign up for as well. And then for Experian, I just use the Experian app as well. That one is free to see your credit score, but there is like some paid premium features in there. I haven't explored any of them yet, so I kind of just stuck to the basics just so I can see my credit score. I also realized that last month when I filled in the credit score with you guys, I messed up Experian and I wrote down our FICO number instead. So I kind of just left it blank because that wasn't the accurate number, and I can't figure out a way to go backwards to see what it was. Our Equifax and TransUnion, I fixed those as well. So as you guys can see, my husband's has gone up because we have been paying off a lot of his student loan debt. So all of his are all in the 800s, which is fantastic. For mine was closed, but then it ended up dropping down by quite the bit. So we'll see how it goes with the following month, and hopefully it goes back up. But I did want to just catch you guys up with that, since I know that I've been saying that I'll give you guys an update for the credit score. We started showing our credit score, I believe, in November or October, because we started paying down, okay, so it was November, but we started paying down a lot of our student loans. So I wanted to show you guys how it would affect our numbers, since technically paying down student loans is kind of like closing out accounts, but it's also minimizing debt. But anyway, okay, so I'm talking a lot about that stuff. Let's just go ahead and get straight into the video for the check-in portion. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and talk about the expenses first. For the app that we use, we always use this daily budget app. This daily budget app is kind of like my go-to to track everything for all the payments that were made throughout the month. For transactions, let's scroll to the first. I've shown this a few times, and I will have videos linked below talking about our bank accounts, how they're hooked up together, along with our apps that we use too, if you guys are curious about those setups, so I don't talk your ear off in this video. But for this, I do have different icons that symbolizes different categories, such as this fork and knife symbolizes eating out. I have a little home icon to symbolize sinking funds, and then we have a grocery cart for groceries. So I will just be going down this list to track the expenses that we had. So for the 1st of December, we have McDonald's, which is an eating out expense. And eating out is this really pretty little gingerbready, light gingerbread color. And this is our key on the right hand side. So that was $17 for McDonald's. I believe we just got some chicken nuggets. I feel like that's always the thing that we end up getting when we're craving McDonald's. But that was $17. The other two are sinking funds. So sinking funds is taken out from our sinking fund categories. So we will talk about that after we jot down all of our expenses. Nothing was spent on the 2nd. On the 3rd, we had a couple of categories too. One of them was for hot pots. We ended up spending $70 to get ingredients from H Mart to make hot pot essentially. My husband was really craving hot pot, so we just got a bunch of stuff for that. And we were able to eat like the whole entire day. And then the next thing after that we also got was for groceries, which is this light pink color. We got some additional things from H Mart, which totaled up to $119. These were just a lot of restock items. I feel like I honestly can't remember what we got since it was quite a bit ago, but I know we got a lot of things to store in the freezer, a lot of veggies, a lot of meats. We got a restock of like soy milks and stuff too, so it was quite a bit of things. We definitely spent a lot of money this day. Groceries in general is just so expensive now, but that is something that I'm sure we're all feeling currently. And then the 4th, we had a bill that came out, which was for HOA. HOA was $80.66. Next we have the 5th. We got more groceries on this day, and that was from Giant for $35. We've been going out grocery shopping more often because we've actually been eating at home a lot more often. So we're kind of getting back into the groove of meal planning, meal prepping, figuring out what the ingredients are that we'll need for the week. We've been going to the groceries a lot more often, but you'll see it kind of die down in the following couple weeks, which is really nice. Then on the 6th, we got gas this day since my husband did have to go into the office. And he always has to get gas since the office is like a drive, like an hour drive there and an hour drive back. So that was $35 for gas. And we also spent from our allowance category as well. And we got something called Kai Dong. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. We've been watching this, or at least I have been watching Tiff Cooks a lot on YouTube. And I've been learning a lot of like really easy Asian Taiwanese foods to be making at home, and they've all been such good hits, and I'm really excited. I'm going to continue watching her videos because I've been learning just really quick meals to make. It's been inspiring me, motivating me to continue cooking from home as well. She came out with this line of like noodles, and she has like these sauces as well that are like their secret sauces. So it was part of her startup launch, so I wanted to purchase like the whole bundle with the noodles and the 3 sauces. There's a scallion sauce, a shallot sauce, and also a hot chili oil. So that's how much that was for $60. On the 7th, we ended up going to Wegmans again too. This was $60, and I honestly couldn't tell you what we got. I'm sure this was definitely like a few gallons of milk since we always have to get milk every single week. We go through a lot of milk. And then we also spent $96 at H Mart again to purchase more foods. We get a lot of our fresh veggies and stuff from H Mart, so I'm assuming we got more of that along with some sweet potatoes. We've been really enjoying eating Korean sweet potatoes and putting them in the oven. It's a really easy thing to just kind of just put in there, and then we'll have something to eat later on as a snack. And just meats, tofus, things like that. But that was from H Mart for $96. And then the last thing we got was a Squishmallow for $21. We went to Claire's because our daughter is so cute. She's just so stinking cute. Every time she sees like things that she really wants or she finds like really fun, she just stares at it, points at it, and says, ooh, ooh. It's so adorable. I love it so much. So we just wanted to pick up a couple more Squishmallows for her since there was a sale going on. Nothing was spent on the 8th and nothing was spent on the 9th. So we are looking good for those days. We had a very spendy week, which is I'm just kind of surprised about, but I'm going to go ahead and put down our none spent stickers. These are just to indicate and be a visual for the days that we did not spend any funds. And that is the first week of our spendings. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go and show you guys how much we spent from our sinking funds. I went ahead and filled out the sinking funds that we spent, and I want to just go over them real quick. The first one was for pups food. We spent $76 on 2 big bags of food to replenish for our pups. And then for holiday, we spent $125 for Christmas gifts. I don't want to go into details just because I don't know who's watching and it's not Christmas yet, but that was $125. Then we have 3 medical expenses. The first one was $186. This is one that we had owed from previous month, but the bill finally came in, so we were able to pay it. This is when I had to do like another screening because I did get sick at one point and the doctor wanted me to have all the baby's vitals and everything remeasured. Then the second one is another bill. This was just for a sono that I had to do. So that was $102 for that bill. Sonos are not covered by the down payment that we paid. So there's going to be more bills to come. Then the last one was a $40 copayment for our daughter's 3rd shot for COVID. And that is all the expenses that we had for the first week of December. Now we can go ahead and check in for everything. Okay, so I have my sheets here. This is our weekly check-in sheet. I do have a thin washi missing because I did use it for a different spread. But we're going to go ahead and lay this down. And I do apologize if I sound a little bit more tired than usually. I feel like I haven't been feeling quite myself and I'm not entirely sure why. So I've been feeling a little, I don't know if moody is the right word, but just down in the dumps, I guess is the best way to say it. But I did want to do these check-in videos because I've been feeling excited to do at least our budgets, which is good because sometimes when I feel like this, I don't want to do anything. But let me lay down these weeks. I do check in for 4 weeks versus for 5 weeks since it just works out easier for me since a lot of weeks end up being quite short. And it also works out because I need 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between each week because I have 5 categories in total. And these 5 categories have just been working for us for years now. I really don't think that we'll change them anytime soon. Maybe we'll probably reevaluate one day and just see if we can try something different because it's always good to try things just to see if it will make things better because you never know until you try. But as of right now, I don't have any plans to change it up anytime soon. Probably after baby comes. And then this is going to be week 4. Alrighty. Now for the thin washi at the bottom. I hope that you guys are having a really good December so far though. The holiday season, hopefully it's not kicking anybody in the butt. And you guys are able to spend it with loved ones. Oops. These little flags I'm gonna just lay down. And I will just be using 4 of them too since I don't check in for all 5 weeks. I laid down the weekly balance sheet with you guys in the pre-balance video. I'll probably just end up just copying over the dates from there because it'll just be easier for me. So I'm going to do that and draw the lines and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I have all the lines down now, but this is what it's looking like so far. I have all 5 of our categories: eating out, groceries, gas, allowance, pups, and bean. These are the ones that we set for at the beginning of the month: eating out, groceries, gas allowance, pups and bean. And these are the ones where if we did use cash, I would consider these our cash envelopes, but in our case, they're kind of just like our daily categories, our electronic cash envelopes, however you'd like to describe them. And just a quick recap for our budget for December, down here is all of our bills for variable and fixed bills. These are the ones I like to keep together, since I know no matter what happens for the month, I need to have at least the total of these two combined, which is $31.75 for the month to pay for all of our bills. And if I need to kind of fluctuate some of the other expenses and funds, I can from these upper categories, which I can kind of have a little bit more leeway to move them around. Now we're going to go ahead and check them in. For us, we don't roll over whatever is left over for each month, since we do budget month by month and we are zero-based budgeters, which means the income that we budget for, we put everything towards something. That means all of our expenses that we just set out for ourselves, everything equals to $5,000. We technically could roll over, but in our case, we just rather whatever is left over, we put towards our debt. But going into our monthly view, I feel like this is a very chatty video compared to my normal weekly check-ins. I do apologize. I feel like I'm trying to collect my thoughts. But for eating out, we do have a few categories. The first one is $17 for McDonald's, $17 plus $70 for Hot Pot. And then we have $60 for Wegmans. That in total is $147 that we spend from our eating out category. $147. For groceries, the pink color, we have a few as well. First one is $96. 96 plus Giant for $35. And then plus $119 for H Mart. And that is a total of $250 that we spent from our groceries category. $250. Now for gas. Gas, it looks like we only have one expense. That was $35 for gas. So gas, $35. And it looks like we spent from every category this week as well. Kaidong is allowance. That one was $60. 60. And then last but not least, for our pups and bean category, we got Squishmallows for a baby, and that was $21 that was spent from that category. Now, just to double check, that is all of our expenses accounted for. Of course, the bill, we'll check in for the bill shortly. That is everything. Now to kind of figure out how much we have left from each category. For these specific categories, let's see, eating out, we started with $300 that we budgeted for, $300, and then we spent $147. That means we have $153 left over. For groceries, we started with $400, we spent $250, means we have $150 left over. For gas, we had a budget of $150. We spent $35, which means we have $115 left over. For allowance, we had $75. We spent $60. That means we have $15 left over. Last but not least, for pups and bean, we had a budget of $75 at the beginning of the month. For the first week, we spent $21, which means we have $54 left over for the remaining weeks. All right, so we are looking good for this department. Let's go ahead and budget for our checking account. Let me show you guys how much is in our checking account currently. All right, so in our accounts, and again, I will have videos linked below talking about our 2 checking accounts and 2 saving accounts, how we set them up, how they kind of communicate with each other, how we utilize them, all of that fun stuff below. There's 2 videos. One of them is a lot more in-depth versus the other, but both of them explain how our system is when it comes to our electronic bank accounts. But for our short-term savings, we still have this amount in here. For our second checking account, that houses all of these funds in here, we are $100 short because I did transfer $100 to our Ally account. So that means that one's 0. So I already transferred that one. And let me actually put that in here. The day that I transferred it was on the 11th. So let's do 12, 11, 23. I've been making so many typos or text or writos. I don't even know what these are called, but I've been writing a lot of things incorrectly because I don't know, my brain is just, I'm struggling over here, guys. I'm not sure why entirely. So I just did it again for the account. We're going to be putting this in our home category. And then I did talk a lot about these buckets and these funds and everything in our savings tracker spread or savings tracker video. And this is from our December savings or our December budget. I'm going to put that instead. So in total now, after that, that means in this account is $2,200. Okay, so I just wanted to write that in there so we have it. But now going backwards, let's talk about how much you spent from the other categories. We'll go from top down for your daily. This is all these 5 categories. You'll see everything is broken down. Daily is all of these categories. Bills are all of these bills that we have budgeted for the month. Sinking funds is all of these sinking funds broken down. Everything is broken down, so everything's categorized as much as possible. For daily, we spent $147 plus $250 plus 35 plus 60 plus 21. That's crazy. The first week alone, we spent $513 from our daily categories. Okay. Now for bills. For bills, we had one thing that came out, which was for HOA. So that was the only bill that came out so far. So I went to mark that off. The reason why I mark it here is it's just a visual thing. I like to mark it in multiple areas. If you guys have been with me, you guys know that I do a lot of those things because I just forget everything if I don't. But that is $80.66 that came out for bills. Then for sinking funds, I know we had quite a bit of sinking funds because of medical bills, but that's 76 plus 125 plus 186 plus 102 plus 40, and that is total is another 500 some change, so $529 that we spent from our sinking funds. Okay, so these we did. I want to mark these off so I know that we've already accounted for them and we're not going to accidentally double account for things. But now to actually balance out the account real quick. We know for our daily categories, we started the month with $1,000. That minus the $513 that we spent means we still have a remaining of $487 left over for the month. Next for bills, we started with $31.75. That minus the $80.66 that we spent, or for the bill that came out, we still have $3,094.34. Now for our sinking funds. For sinking funds, we had 1,704 at the beginning of the month minus 529 means we still have $1,175 for the sinking funds as well. All right, so now to do our last steps really, which is going to be just to do our transfers and balance out the account. Let's talk about how much we have to transfer from our checking account, our second checking account that houses these funds, over to our primary account, which pays for our credit cards. The reason why I don't have this account be the outgoing funds as well to pay like our credit cards is because sometimes institutions take quite a bit of time or several days to take the funds out of the account, and I've noticed that when I have all of the current amount of money that we have along with like the outgoing funds all in one category, sometimes I forget that I made a payment or I miscalculate thinking that we had more money than what we actually had because I forget that the money has not gone out yet for something. So having the money stored in a separate account where when we make payments, it can go out however many days it takes, however long it takes, it goes out and it doesn't affect our real numbers, has been really easy for us to be able to stay on top of our budget and not accidentally think that we had more than we really did. But for our second checking account, we still have a lot of the funds that we spent. So for our daily expenses, for example, which is our eating out, groceries, all of these categories, we spent everything with our credit card. That means we still have the money and we owe our credit card. Same with our sinking funds. All of these medical bills, the Christmas present, all of that stuff was spent from our credit card as well. So we still have the money too. So you want to go ahead and transfer that money too. For Ally, the savings account, we already transferred the money over to that external savings, so I'm not going to even worry about this since we already took care of it. And as for bills, that $80.66, this one does not come out of our credit card. It was already automatically deducted from our second checking account. So the institution already took those funds out. That means we don't have to do any transfers since they already have their money. But we do have to do the other transfers, which means for our daily, the $513 plus the $529, these are the two amounts that we have to transfer in total. That's $1,042 that we have to transfer over from this account to this account. And then afterwards, I'll tell you guys what the real amount is. Alrighty, so the real amount that is currently in this second checking account after that transfer is now $4,756.34. Now we're going to add this up and make sure that it is correct. That means the end amount for these categories, which is 487 plus 30, 94, 34 plus 1175 equals the total of $4,756.34, and that matches perfectly, which is awesome. So we have 4,756.34. And then another way that I like to just triple check as well is we know that when we balance out our account at the beginning of the month, that was 5,979. We can take that beginning balance that we had together minus the 513 minus the 80.66 minus the 529 and then minus the 100. And that also equals to that number. So that's another way to balance it out. The reason why I like to do that too is because we do have money that comes out of our checking account automatically for certain bills, and then the rest of it comes out of credit card. This is just another way for me to make sure that we're not miscalculating anything. But now that these accounts are balanced out and ready to go for our next week's check-in, I do lastly just want to do our savings challenge real quick. In our savings challenge, when we set this up together, it's basically these are just little freebies that I sent out for some orders, and it is a savings challenge where if the whole amount or all 5 of these amounts are saved in total, it will equal to $90 saved. For the new year, for every month for 2024, all of these savings challenges added up every single month will equal $1,000 at the end of the year. For December and November, these were kind of just like ones for me to play with and like test with because I was really excited for it. The total saved, it was saved 25, 15, 9, 15, 26, and these are matching numbers here. If we save all of them, it will equal $90 saved. So let's see. I do want to save some of these funds. For gas, I don't think we'll be spending too much more, so I'm thinking of taking 25 and 15 from our gas category for this week, and then we'll kind of see where we're at next week. So let's just do that. For gas, in total we're going to take $25 and then $15. That in total is $40 that we'll be taking from our gas category. And you guys will see this number reflect from our gas expense little sticker tracker in our week 2 check-in. But I wanted to just do this with you guys before I forgot to do it, and then next week we'll be able to do some more of them, maybe all of them, another one of them. We'll see how it goes. But now that is going to be it for this week's check-in. I hope that you guys still enjoyed it. Nonetheless, I'm hoping that I didn't talk too much for this one. I feel like I definitely did babble on a little bit more than I usually do. Yes, thank you guys so much as always for tuning in. I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye.